Hello, hello. Welcome once again to another edition of Quoth Raven Lewis Bright Raven. It is a creator roundtable discussion night with guests, it's plural, Patrick Blaine and David Sandoval. And, let me go ahead and give you a little bit of background from my knowledge and awareness of these two gentlemen. First, Patrick and I met some 25 years back via Comic Book Resources chat room, where he originally appeared under the alias Bat Plane, and then later as Jade Dragon, along with various other professionals who frequented that chat room. Pierre-Andre Derry, who he worked with. Pierre was an inker on him on several books. George LaPointe, Blonde the colorist, a couple of others who would later find their way onto the West Coast comic scene. We all pretty much were the cool kids of the site until the chat room was shut down. Patrick has worked for numerous publishers over the years: DC, Dark Horse, Shadowline Image, Top Cow at Image, Antarctic Press, Avatar, Black Box Studios, and many more. Here are some of the series you may recognize his work from: Tales of the Sinestro Corps, Cyborg Superman from 2007, Star Wars Republic and Empire. Republic, he was on number 50, and then Empire was on number 13 from 2003. United Free Rules from 2008. I don't remember the name of the publisher. Patrick can give me a hint on that when he comes on. Project Icarus from 2020, which I actually did the review here on the channel for that series. Warrior Nun Black and White 1997 from Antarctic Studios. Prophecy of the Soul Sorcerer from Arcane Studios back in 99, which I interviewed Patrick and his writer back then and promoted that series on not this channel, but the Quote the Raven blog back in the old days. And then The Darkness Level 4 from 2007. He's also worked in video game and toy packaging design. And we'll maybe talk a little bit about Patrick's history with some of these companies and projects. But tonight's primary focus is the Kickstarter campaign with his collaborator, David Sandoval, Crown of Fire. David is also experienced as a writer. He's got a studio that he used to work with called Nas Studios. We'll give a little bit of a background on that as well, because I'm not as familiar with it. I remember hearing Nas Studios, but I'm not familiar as much with the project. But so, without further ado, my guests tonight, Patrick Blaine and David Sandoval.
Hey, what's going on? Right? Excuse me, Lewis, how you doing?
Hey. Let me ask real quick, what was the company that you did United Free Worlds for?
You know, it's funny, when you said that, I was trying to remember the name of that company, and it's escaping my mind right now.
Okay.
It was a startup company. The guy that funded it was the son of like a billionaire from Canada, a real estate mogul. And he ended up going on to becoming an actual murderer.
Oh, dear.
Okay,
we'll forget about that. Forget about that one.
That was an interesting project.
All righty. It's been quite the ride, though, for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always said that of all the people that I met through CBR, you were one of the most underrated and less used talents. And I always felt like, it's like, why are you not getting assignments?
Yeah. But I ended up going into advertising in like 2001, right after I got to Top Cow, basically about a year after that.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up kind of falling into advertising, just disappeared out of comics for like 10 years, totally. So it's not a big surprise that people have not heard of me at this point. So I'm sort of trying to make my comeback with Crown of Fire. That's the mission here.
I don't know if you remember John Norris, Patrick, but he was known as Figaro at CBR.
Yeah, I remember that name. Yeah.
Okay. He's one of my regular viewers and sometimes co-hosts on the show.
Oh, cool. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, hello if you're watching.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's certainly watching.
Oh, cool.
All righty. Now, Crown of Fire is – I've actually reviewed this on crowdfunding night a couple weeks ago because I hadn't heard back from Patrick and I didn't know what was going on. So I just kind of covered it a little bit, what little I knew.
Oh, sorry about that.
But tell us a little bit of how this came about.
Well, I met David around 2011 or so, maybe a little after that, and he had been already working on his NES Studios project, and it was one of his main story was called Tribulations of Abaddon. It's this big, huge, overreaching, arcing tale he had started sort of doing little comics here and there about, and I sort of helped him out with a few pinups and covers and things here and there, and we were talking about doing a whole series together. And the time came in around 2016 when he had the idea for a book called Crown of Fire. And so he talked to me about it, and I was like, yeah, it'd be fun to pencil that, but what I'd really love to do is just paint the whole thing. And so he's like, yeah, let's just do it. So we spent about half a year working on that issue, and he was financing it with another friend of his named Nice Reina. And after we finished it just sort of, we never ended up doing anything with it because he was sort of out of comics for a little while, and it just sort of sat there for about 6 years until now, till when we finally just said, let's just do it. Let's get it out there, and it's just sitting there gathering dust. So let's give birth to this thing and get it out into the world. So I was really grateful that we had that thing done and it's ready to go. So it was just all gravy from there, basically. So.
Okay, well, speaking of NES Studios, David, go ahead and give everyone a little bit of a background of how your time here in comics, if you don't mind.
Well, the NES, I did it for a good amount of years. I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember specifically. Like Patrick's really good at years. I'm bad. I know for sure I did it for about close to maybe more than 5 years. I had a couple of titles published, like Black Mass, The Curse and the Damned, Necros. Those are some of the book titles that I know we did publish because I still have some of the copies at home. And I was working on some other stuff at that time. We had just started TOA, which is Tribulations of Abaddon, with another artist. And I loved his art and everything, but towards the middle of getting the pages in, and I was already paying for ink and colors and everything, I kind of decided to stop because, and I hate to say it like this, but ever since I saw Patrick's artwork, I kind of wanted him for that story. Mm-hmm. And at that time he was pretty busy, and I know he wasn't able to like commit to pages or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I decided to just stop the book, stop production, producing it. And I just stopped it. And, a couple of artists got mad at me because of that, but
yeah,
it's kind of like, I knew that book could be better because it's epic. It's like Patrick said, it's like, it's over the top. And just like Crown of Fire, it's within the same realm. And I feel like, if everything works out well with Crown of Fire, eventually I can have Pat do, the Tribulations of Abaddon as well. Mm-hmm. And, well, with that being said, some of the books that I did publish with NAS, I actually, if everything works out, maybe in the near future, I'd like to continue producing those. Mm-hmm. With, of course, help from Patrick, since we did kind of go into a partnership with Crown of Fire, and we decided, he's a co-creator, so anytime moving forward with character designs and looks and all this, I can have an idea of what I want him to look, but I'll just give it to Pat and be like, okay, this is a character. He's all yours. You come up with whatever he looks like, designs, anything like that. Mm-hmm. And so that's how, I want to move forward with everything we do, since pretty much I'm just a storyteller and I'm a visual person, but Pat, on the other hand, he's been doing this for such a long time, and he's a really big help every time I need a little, push, or just, a little like, hey, what about this, David? What about that? Or maybe just at this, maybe at that. And it helps a lot. So I feel like moving forward, anything we do, if possible, and I bring some of those titles back, I want to go ahead and make him a collaborator as well, since hopefully, moving forward, we'll be able to do everything together.
Yeah, fingers crossed we get there. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this. Before we were on the air, David mentioned that he had some private family issues that kind of left him leaving NAS. And I understand that sort of situation. You don't know this. Patrick does. Both my parents suffered heart attacks and strokes when I was running my own studio. And Patrick was actually adjacent to my studio before he went to Top Cow.
Okay.
And so, because I couldn't pay him, I let him and Blonde and a whole lot of other people out of their deals with me back then. So I know where you're coming from and what you went through there.
Yeah.
Because I've never come back from it fully.
Right.
Yeah, and I can remember when Patrick was doing stuff for Top Cow. I think Matt Banning was inking you, and you had those wizard characters. Do you remember that stuff?
Yeah. Marco Galli inked that. Yeah. Pardon? Marco Galli inked that, who was one of Joe Weems' assistants.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was like that. I don't know if you remember Spellseeker at all, Patrick.
Which one?
Spellseeker.
That sounds familiar. Yeah, was that one of yours?
Yeah, that's one of mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one that Matt was going to do, but then not Matt Banning, but the Matt in my studio was going to do, but he passed away.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was terminally ill at the time. He had kidney disease.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they'd already given him one, and then he was already in the second failure. So,
what was his last name?
Cammert.
Matthew
Cammert.
Cammert. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's so sad that he passed away. Yeah.
You remember you remember that little kid that had blonde hair that you thought was really scrawny when we met at San Diego?
Which one? Was it Matt?
Yeah, that was Matt.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You were like, well, how old is he? 15? Because he was so tiny.
Yeah.
But anyway, when he passed, I wanted you to take over, but I didn't have it. But you were busy on Prophecy at the time.
Oh, right.
And then Prophecy was in and out, and I was like, well, I'll give him the project, but then my parents got sick.
Right.
And then you went to Top Cow.
Prophecy led right into Top Cow. Yeah, I was like, right after I finished that, then I went right down to LA. So yeah, right around that same time, we were all buddies on CBR. So.
Yep. So it's like, yeah, I've been there. I've been there to understand it.
Right.
But let's go ahead and get to this interesting series, Crown of Fire. Now, you guys have 9 days left to go on the campaign. You have surpassed your $7,000 goal. So this is automatically good to go, basically.
Yeah.
The book is completely finished, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're done.
Now, you said this was painted. I'm presuming that means digital painted.
Digitally painted, on Photoshop.
And I also believe I was having a conversation with Blonde. And Blonde is a colorist friend of both Patrick's and mine.
Yeah.
He said that you learned how to do digital painting from Ku Chua.
He started doing it because me, Shaw, and Clarence Lansing all went to a place called Seiniger Advertising right after Top Cow, or right when we were all sort of there in the studios, because Top Cow was sort of downsizing at the time. Mm-hmm. So we just lost their newsstand distribution, and comics were not doing well right then. Mm-hmm. So I was sort of waiting around for my shot at Top Cow, but I wasn't making any real money. So so me and Clarence and Ku all ended up at that ad firm in Beverly Hills, which was pretty close to the studio at Top Cow. But Ku was the guy that started doing some painting in Photoshop. Then Clarence started doing it too, and I just sort of picked it up because right then all the advertising firms were transitioning from traditional artists, like we were comic book artists, digital Photoshop experts. And so we also learned it on the job and just had to like just become Photoshop experts just to be part of that studio. So yeah, that's how I learned to paint, was to be around those guys.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, Ku and Clarence are two super talented guys. So I like being in a studio where guys are actually better than me, because that's the way. You don't want to be the best guy in the studio, because then you don't have
Well,
any.
I'll tell you.
The pressure's on.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think you can learn in studios from people who are just different styles from you.
Yeah,
There's always stuff that you can learn. I mean,
for sure.
I mean, you got to remember, Constellation had Patrick Blaine, Pierre Andre Derry was adjacent to the group. The Cameron brothers, Matthew Ned, both of them passed on from the same illness, unfortunately.
Wow.
Let's see. The original lineup had Chad Curry, who you guys probably don't know, but he was like a cross between McFarlane and Jay Lee.
Oh wow.
So, it was like different styles, as well as my own stuff. And it's, I don't know if you remember my art style at all, Patrick.
Yeah, I remember seeing some of it. Yeah, I thought it was great. Yeah.
So, it's kind of a thing. But let's go ahead and get into what this Crown of Fire is actually about.
All right.
Well, let's let David go ahead and talk about it a little bit.
Sure.
Crown of Fire, pretty much it's a prequel to TOA. It's an introduction to some of the main characters. Takes place in the high seas. It's a story mixed with some heavy metal elements. Harryhausen, and we've got monsters, sorcerers, witches, anything you can think of is probably in this story. Yeah, it's been a story I've been working on for years, and it's just a long. I guess if I put it all together, it would probably be a big fat book. But yeah,
Someday.
but yeah, the story is we've got a couple of pirates looking for treasure. They hear about a specific crown made of gold, and it's called the Crown of Fire. It's said to possess specific powers and grant you gifts and all this stuff. And of course, all they want is the treasure. They get their hands on a map that it's supposed to take them there. They do find it, and things just escalate from there. And as you can see just from that cover itself, some of those characters in there, that's pretty much everybody from the story.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking very much of Sinbad's 7 Voyages type thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and every story or every issue that we move forward on, it's gonna have this element along with others as we move forward. Every issue might become a little bit more heavy metalish in terms of maturity and being a little bit more hardcore. But for the most part, I'm sticking to all the characters. I'm growing them. I'm telling everybody's tale, in other words.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I have so many stories and outlines and things to keep this. I can probably stretch this out to about 50 issues if
Lord.
I wanted to.
So this is the precursor to Tales of Abaddon, and this is them seeking out this crown. And now this is going to be done on a little bit larger size format.
Right.
More like an 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 12 or 9 by 12 type format.
It's 8 by 12. It's the same size as the European bande dessinées, which are their versions of graphic novels, which have hardcovers. And they're like A4 size, but they're like 8 by 12. So that's what we wanted to do, is just have something we could put on our shelf rather than in a comic box somewhere. So
yeah. Okay. And of course, you did show some of that. We'll get into that. But now there's 2 versions. There is the, shall we say, standard edition, which is for everybody, more or less. And then there's an Inferno edition, which has nudity.
Right.
Any other real difference in context of storyline or anything in the Inferno version?
No, basically, I just took the standard version of the comic, put a new cover on it that has some nudity, and then also went into the interior pages and just, instead of just giving you a nude cover option, I wanted the whole book to be reflective of that sensibility. So I just went in there and just changed all the mermaids so that they weren't wearing as much. And because they're mermaids, they don't really need clothes. It's like, why would they have clothes? They're all women and they live in the sea. So it's like, so we just went with that as the excuse, kind of.
Okay.
And then in future issues, there will be more mature content with romance and some adult moments.
Themes.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the concept behind that, because I know that a lot of these crowdfunding companies out there do that nude cover thing, and some of them do really well. They might start off small, but after a few campaigns, a lot of them are doing really well, like the Mount Olympus comics and Brian Pulido's Lady Death comics, Coffin comics, and even Marat Michaels. So those guys are doing really well with that sort of approach. So I just thought, well, let's just adapt that into what we're doing here and market it as a kind of two different books for two different audiences kind of thing.
Okay. Now, this, of course, is the opening sequence of the story where they're out on the seas, introducing to the new characters here. Again, this is all digital painted through Photoshop.
Yeah.
Kel Nuttall is the letterer, I believe.
Kel Nuttall, yeah.
Nuttall, okay.
Yeah, he did a great job. Yeah, we really appreciate all his work he did on this too. Yeah, Kel's a great guy.
Yeah. Always give our credits to any of our collaborators here on these shows if we can.
Yeah. Yeah. I was always influenced by the not only the Sinbad movies I grew up on, but at the same time I was really into Frazetta and Boris, and all those old school painters who were just like my gods. They're the gods to me of art. And so this is sort of my love letter to all of that stuff I grew up loving. It all kind of rolled up into one thing. And so that's why we're so excited about this, because it's sort of like a dream come true project for me, basically. And thanks to David's script and his love for the same kind of genres, that it just kind of worked out really well for both of us.
Okay. Now, these are $50 books for the painted edition. Now, again, remember, this is an oversized hardcover edition book.
Right.
Hold on a second. I think I know. I've got an example.
Yeah, they're 50 pages long, and so they're just big enough to make a pretty solid, oversized, like coffee table style book. So that was sort of our mission, was to make it something a little more prestigious than just a regular floppy comic book.
Kind of like this.
Yes, exactly like that. Yeah.
So go ahead. This is the Lone Sloan Delirious Tooth and Titan.
Yeah.
And
exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it.
This is what you're going to get, is their version of this kind of format.
Yeah. Because the paintings it's like I put so much time into the paintings. I just kind of wanted it to be big so people could see what I did, rather have it all be reduced so tiny that you can't really see any of the details. Yeah. Mm-hmm. A vanity thing for us artists, basically.
Absolutely understandable.
Yeah.
So there you go. So now we know what you're getting there. You're getting that book there. Now it's 50 pages. It's 26 pages of story, but there's also additional artwork in the back that's either developmental preview art of the book, or it's also just pin-up materials of your work, Patrick.
Yeah, it's stuff that I had done that was either commission work or like covers for other companies that I've gotten permission to use in this, okay. or even like just stuff I did for fun. And that's sort of what's in the back of the book, is mostly just hot chick paintings and monsters and that kind of thing. Stuff that sort of fits the genre of the rest of the story that the first half is. Okay.
And of course, the characters are Torque. Or did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Lykios, Captain Akar, Queen Forces.
Yes.
Thera, Queen Satara, Paracas, and I don't know if that's Kana or Kana.
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 So there's quite a few different characters here. There's like four different females here, 2 different queens. So it's like quite an interesting dynamic of which characters are going to be to what, as the story progresses.
Thera actually becomes one of the main characters in the book because she becomes romantically involved with Torque, and she goes on the adventure with them, and it's sort of like that's her introduction into the story where she becomes one of the main characters.
Okay.
So, yeah, she's like a romantic interest and all that fun stuff that will be more dove into in the next issue.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now again, this is $50 for the book. That's the print. Now you can also get the digital version for $15,
Right.
which is considerably cheaper, of course.
Yeah.
You can get T-shirts. Let's go ahead and now, of course, they show a little bit of the difference. It's not that big of a deal, like you say. But here's some of the painting gallery. This is one of the. I'm trying to think of what.
A gift, yeah.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't think of the format for the painting that was something here that Patrick did. So you see the process there.
It's sort of like a work in progress sort of progression image there. I always like those kind of things, so I threw a couple in there.
Yeah. And here's some of the other.
I'm sorry. In this day and age with AI, it's like you can't ever tell like what is hand painted anymore. So I thought that's a good way to show people, this is actually built from scratch from nothing, like a real artist instead of just like pushing a button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, here's some of the other artwork that will be featured.
Yeah, that's in the gallery section in the back. These are just samples of all that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Now there are T-shirts available, which of course are basically the covers. Where are they? I'm trying to find the T-shirts here.
Down just a little further.
Okay, there they are. You get the regular cover with the ship, or you can get the one with the 2 snakes, dragons with. Is it Forces as a queen?
Queen Forces. Yeah, that's Queen Forces, the evil sea witch.
Yeah. And those are $30 each. Who's printing your shirts?
We haven't finalized that stuff yet, so we're sort of just waiting to see how many we need to order, and that will kind of determine where we go, I think. So I think now we only have maybe like 5 or so people have ordered those. I just need one for me, basically. So I want to put that in there. So,
yeah, I hear you. You get a book print and a T-shirt. You get mega combos, all kinds of things as far as that goes.
Yeah.
There's also original artwork up here for $50. I saw that. Where is it?
Yeah, if you go up a little further on the other one, on the other thing you were looking at, you go down past that, down further, in the rewards, you'll see the
it's the very first one.
There it is. The very top one. There it is.
Yeah. Original art. Now, is this a pencil drawing that you've already done, or can they ask for a specific character?
You can ask for a specific character. We haven't done them yet, so if anybody wants those, we'll send a survey out after the funding's finished, and I'll ask them if they have a preference, if they'd rather have a female sketch or a male, like a monster or a male hero or anything like that, and then I'll try to customize it for whatever they want. So.
Okay. Cool. That's good to know.
Yeah.
I was looking for that's something I was going to ask because that's why I haven't backed it yet because I needed to ask you what you were doing with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm probably going to get the standard edition.
Oh, okay. Nice. Very cool.
I don't know about the prints or not yet, but the T-shirt, I'm trying to make up my mind. I like to get the T-shirts when I can.
Yeah. I do too.
You've got your first stretch goal unlocked. So
you
now get a postcard size print from the painting gallery, which is 10K, which means if you get to 10K, you'll get all 6 of those in the postcard size.
Yeah.
$12K would be a bonus standard edition softcover.
Yeah, this is something David wanted to do, was have like a regular size comic book version of just the story without the gallery in there. Something that we could just give people as and then do like a Kickstarter only like exclusive cover for it, which I'm going to do Thera and Kana together on the cover and make it kind of sexy. And so if we get that one funded and that becomes a reality, and we get to give people a little smaller version of the book with a thicker cover, the next goal would be doing one for the Inferno version. So that's sort of the plan.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, because that one will be the standard version. So.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask a question of you, Patrick. There was another Kickstarter that you were involved in recently that did not get funded.
Me?
Yeah. Kane?
Oh yeah, Kane. Yeah, that's another company. That's not my book though, so it's like it's somebody else's whole thing. But I'm very grateful for the fact that they have given me work to pencil that comic. Yeah, it was a cool project to be involved with too. But yeah, their Indiegogo funding was not really run the way I would have run it. So
yeah, I didn't like the way they ran it either.
Yeah,
I was not surprised that they fell way short of their goal.
Yeah, I think he put a goal on there for $75,000 for the first issue.
No, I think it was 20,000 actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I think that's for issue 2. The first one had a much bigger goal.
But I don't know. But I remember looking at it. It was like it might have been on Kickstarter instead of Indiegogo, but it was 20,000, and they only got like 8,600.
Yeah, that was the first issue. That was on Indiegogo. Yeah, so it's yeah. I mean, I love working with those guys, and so I don't want to complain too much, but I kind of wish they would have asked me for some insight on how they run those things. But they had ideas that they had met a few of the guys from the Comicsgate community, and so he kind of got in his head that we're going to make $75,000 off this thing, and I'm like, that's kind of rare. That's only working for those guys because they have a very solid base that's supporting everything they do.
Well, his whole thing was, it's about me, the writer, and my star actor. He didn't even mention you in the damn campaign.
Yeah, and
I ripped him for this.
Okay, good. Thanks. I can't do that. So.
I not only did I rip him on this show for it.
Oh, you did? I'll have to go back and watch that. I think I missed that.
Because I was like, I'm sorry. How could you not? You're the selling point, not the actor.
Right.
The actor's the selling point for a film, not a comic.
Right. No, I love those guys, but it's like, I wish they would have mentioned the artists.
Yeah. It would have been a lot easier to market to comic fans.
Yeah.
When you don't, it's like, well, who's the artist? And you don't know anything. Oh.
Yeah. I'm working on issue 4 of that right now. And so I got issue 6 is where we're going to finish this story arc. Mm-hmm. And so after that, we're supposed to do even more comics, but we're sure we're just going to do 6 for now, and then we'll see what happens. But I just wish that they had come to me for some advice on their crowdfunding
marketing.
But they're great guys. I love them to death. But we need little help on the marketing.
So anyway, this seems to be pretty doing well for you, Go. I mean, you first off you set a reasonable goal for. Yeah. Because I mean, like you say, you're rebuilding your market for you. You've been around since you've been around, so to speak. Yeah. I knew who you were, of course. Right.
But, there's a couple people out there that remember me, but not that many.
So.
I'm really impressed with it when you were reading off my list of stuff I've done. I was like, I didn't even know you knew any of that stuff. So that was cool that you did a little research and you remembered all those books I did.
I own most of this stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate you finding this.
Yeah. I mean, actually the only stuff I don't have out of that stuff is the Top Cow stuff because I was never a Top Cow guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But when you went there, I was like, that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
It was either you were going to go there, or you were going to go to Wildstorm, one of the two, whichever one gave you the better deal.
Right. I was willing to go anywhere at that point. I was just ready to make some waves in comics, but unfortunately, it just never really panned out at Top Cow. So I did end up doing that one Darkness issue, but that's while I was working in advertising, so I was a little rusty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember you inking some Witchblade.
I did a little assistant inking stuff, but I was never a full inker anywhere. So
Yeah.
that's just not my forte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It is. How do we put this? A lot of the situation when you're working in those studios back then was all hands on deck.
Yeah.
And so you were learning different techniques and different styles as pencilers, inkers, painter, whatever you were needed for at the time.
Right.
Because a lot of these guys, until they learned and evolved past coming into the business, usually it took them a while to get into it. Yeah.
Right.
Even the David Finches and the, oh shoot, what's his name? Travis Charest. There's the other one.
Yeah. Those guys are amazing.
Yeah, I mean, those guys started out, pretty much as clone artists and had to evolve.
Yeah, that's kind of how all of us start out, it seems like. But yeah, but like Travis made a huge jump from Jim Lee clone to super genius over the course of 5 years or so.
Well, he went to Europe, didn't he? And then
yeah.
And going to Europe and being around Mobius and the others taught him, I think, seeing that whole scene. So I think that's what helped him jump. But
yeah, that Meta Barons project that he was involved with, even before he was on it, it had super amazing artwork. And that's why I was really sort of influenced by the European style of comics, is because I'd spent a lot of time on one graphic novel rather than trying to crank out a monthly book and then just slapping it all together. They really want to create their best work, and it's really evident in the quality that they put out there. That's what I try to emulate these days.
Okay, so this is going to end on the 1st of 2023.
Yes.
What kind of turnaround do you guys expect to get the books to ship? Since the book is already done, we don't have to worry about you taking your time to get the book done.
Yeah,
like a lot of these guys do.
I think Kickstarter, I've heard that once you get funded, once your campaign ends, it takes them a month to actually give you your funds, because there's a lot of legal stuff that happens and whatever. And I think they use that money for whatever else for a while, and then they give it to you. So I think it's going to be, we'll start the printing process at the end of January probably, and then we're not exact. We're either going to go with a company in China or one in Canada. And we've heard horrible things about the Chinese one, but it's a lot cheaper. So we're sort of kind of.
Well, the thing about China right now is you guys are going to have some issues with getting the stuff transported back over here.
Right. I've heard nightmare stories.
Yeah, and that is, and while Canada it might be more expensive, depending on where you're going in Canada, it's a lot easier to acquire your product.
Yeah, we keep hearing the company called Comics Wellspring is the place that everybody goes to. But when I already researched the company, it didn't look like they had hardcovers available in that size. So we're going to have to call them actually and see if they can do it. And if they can, we'll pay a little extra money to work with the Canadian company, because that way we can actually talk to them if something goes wrong. And like they have really good customer service, I hear. So that's worth the extra money, I think. Yeah,
you might want to talk to Aaron Lepresti.
Oh, really?
He does Wraith of God.
Yeah, I've seen his Kickstarter stuff. Yeah, or Indie.
Right. His stuff is hardcover, and I forget who his printer was. But,
really?
But I don't. I'd have to go get it. But I would probably look at who he used as a possibility. Or I would talk to Graham about what he did for the hardcover for Two-Fisted Manly Tales.
Graham Nolan,
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know him. I've met Aaron once, but I don't really know him. So
don't be afraid to ask them through Kickstarter or through Facebook.
Yeah.
Messenger. Don't be afraid to talk to these guys.
They seem like great guys, so yeah.
A lot of people seem to think that the comics geek community is sort of exclusive or this, that, or the other, and really all I look at CG as is a lot of the high-profile Marvel, ex-DC, ex-Image guys who kind of got pushed out due to ageism and cronyism, as the management at Marvel and DC turned over. The new management didn't want to work with the guys who were already established and wanted to bring in their own people. And that happened when those guys came in 30 years ago, to be honest. So I kind of look at it as like, don't make it political. Don't make it any more than what it really is, Yeah. And so, when they get into this thing about woke this and minority that, I just like, no, that's not the issue.
Yeah, it's complicated for sure. Yeah, I try to stay out of the political part of it.
Well, as I've always said with you, you're kind of like the quiet, shy guy in the cave.
Pretty much, yeah. In the cave. So.
I remember when I saw Kane, I was like, "Is that supposed to be the actor? Or is that supposed to be you?"
I wish. No, if you see a picture of Brock O'Hearn, he looks like that guy. Yeah,
I know.
But thank you.
Well, you're not exactly small.
Well, not quite. I'm 6'3". I'm not quite 6'7" like he is, but compliment anyways. So thanks.
Yeah. But I mean, he's taller. But I was just like, I can remember back in the '90s, you weren't as buff as you are now.
No, I was pretty overweight back then.
Yeah,
I'm always struggling with it, so it's like always a work in progress. So, but thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, it was quite the interesting story there. But let's see what else we got here. Is all this stuff going to be completely painted for all the series?
Yeah, that's our plan at this point. I don't think it would be. I would just like the book to be right next to each other as like a continuation of the same thing, with no change in the art or anything like that. And I think we're toying with the idea of making like one of those like slip cases that will hold 2 books for the second volume as an option. People that didn't get the first issue can get the first and the second and the slip case thing that they go into. So I think I've seen other people do that, and I think it's really classy looking. And then down the road, if we do even more volumes, then we can create a bigger, holding device for all that stuff.
Right.
That's the plan at this point.
Okay. We'll give them a difference here so that people can understand the difference in the size. We do show you the standard USA comic size versus that.
Right.
Again, and give you an idea of the difference here. Here's a regular comic versus the size they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're getting a lot larger artwork for your book.
Yeah, it's more like magazine size, basically, but just with a hardcover.
So, yeah. Alrighty.
By the way, I like your hat.
Well, I do and I don't. This thing is I wish it would stay in one spot, but it doesn't want to stay. It just kind of flops around.
Keeping in the spirit, though, that's great.
Yeah. Well, you got to try to.
Sure. It's Christmas.
Yeah. But well, speaking of Christmas, I know David's visiting his parents who are sick. We wish them all the best and quick recovery, COVID-related symptoms. But what are you looking for this holiday season? What kind of?
You want to answer, David? Christmas and the New Year. What's your holiday wish?
Yeah.
I don't know. For everybody to have a good Christmas, that's pretty much it. I personally, I'm blessed. I don't think I need anything. I haven't asked Santa for anything besides getting Crown of Fire funded, and we're funded.
Yeah. You've got plenty of snakes. You got plenty of puppies at this point, so you don't really need anything.
Yeah, I used to have a lot of. I'm a big reptile guy, so I had over 100 snakes. Wow. But I've kind of toned it down. I have about 12 ball pythons. I have 2 boas, 2 king snakes, and I have a monocle cobra. So far.
Great. And his Dachshund has puppies, so he's got puppies.
Oh, yeah, and I have 2 Dachshunds, and they just can't stop having babies.
Have you given away all your puppies yet, or you still have some?
Oh, yeah, they're all gone.
Oh, they're gone? Oh, okay. Yeah, he offered to give me one, and I should have taken him up on it, but I just didn't know how I could get him here. So.
Yeah, because he's in Texas and you're in Washington.
Yeah, I'm in Spokane, Washington. He's in Laredo, Texas, so we couldn't be farther apart. Well, we could be.
You could be where I'm at. I'm in Carolina.
Oh, see, I thought you were down in Nevada or somewhere.
I moved from Nevada back in 07. We lost our house.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. That sucks.
Yeah, that after my parents got sick, the medical bills were too much, and we went to refinance, and we got ripped off by a con artist who illegally transferred the deed into his own name. Tried to say that we sold the house to them for $2,000. I spent a year and a half in court. We won the house back, but in the interim, he put a second mortgage on the property, so it went into foreclosure, and we lost it.
Oh, geez.
Because the judge was an idiot, or not an idiot. The judge wanted to steal the house out from under us and give it to his mom. So he didn't revoke that second mortgage as an illegal mortgage, like he should have.
Right.
And so when that happened and we lost the house, I filed a grievance against the judge. He was disbarred and went to jail, but we never got the house back. So we had to relocate, and we ended up in Columbia area. So
okay, Columbia.
Yeah, Columbia, South Carolina. So
well, it looks like you landed on your feet, so that's all that matters for you.
It took a long time, 5 years to sort of get to something resembling normalcy again.
Right.
So
I hear you.
But that was kind of why I didn't produce a lot of stuff in the 2000s myself, was that whole situation.
I hear you, man.
Yeah.
Freelancing big comics is not for everybody. It's a hard thing to do and to be successful at it. People want to get into it because they love drawing and stuff, and it's hard for me to recommend, go for it, unless they're really passionate about it. You know?
Well, you can be as passionate as you want. I mean, in the 90s, I was very successful. Self-publishing and self-distributing, but it's time-consuming.
Yeah.
And people, back in the 90s, we didn't have this format to use as a platform.
Right.
You had to travel. You had to go to conventions. You had to go to stores and pitch to a retailer who's generally not interested as a rule, get turned down, and then say, okay, well, if you're going to be a jerk and not support the independent creators, I'll go where somebody will in your town, which is what I did a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because, that's how it was back then. Things have changed somewhat now, I think. I'd say around 90% of the comics aren't even available through comic shops anymore.
Oh, yeah. This whole crowdfunding thing and YouTube promotions and all that has really, really created a real utopia for creators now. We can control it all ourselves. And
not just this stuff, but we've had digital format for so long that's much larger than the American print market.
Right.
You've got print on demand that's been there for at least a decade.
Yeah.
So there's those markets as well. So there's a lot of stuff out there that doesn't get coverage in most comic news outlets, shall we say.
Right. Yeah.
So
getting your stuff in Diamond has always been a kind of a nightmare. Bypass that whole system.
Yeah. Well, it's Diamond is weird. I mean, I don't know if you remember when I was doing stuff as a journalist and I reported on Diamond committing fraud back in 2000.
Oh yeah, I remember you making some waves back then and creating some controversy and some craziness.
Oh yeah. Well, I wasn't trying to create controversy. I was just letting people know what was really going on in the industry. But, and of course Jonah didn't like that.
Oh, of course.
Jonah being the owner of Comic Book Resources at the time.
Yeah.
That was quite the interesting scene.
Yeah, it was.
In that mess.
Right.
Well, David, I know that you are at a hotel right now because you're taking care of your parents, and like I said, they've both got COVID apparently. Are you like just standing there are they close to your other family, or are you just visiting them, or?
Yeah, no, they're actually doing good. They're doing good. It's just I can't stay there. So
Well, no, you can't stay because you don't want to catch it and then pass it on to
yeah,
you.
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So no, I'm just gonna sleep here for tonight. Just
Okay.
tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how close you were to family and stuff otherwise, and because here being around Christmas time, your other
Oh
family.
yeah, no, I'm gonna go home to my family hopefully Saturday morning.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Saturday morning.
Christmas Eve.
Like
Right?
yeah, Christmas Eve.
And hopefully the weather won't be so bad.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, we're expecting. I mean, for here, South Texas, cold is in the 20s and 30s, and I love the cold weather, but
Right.
because it doesn't have to happen so often, it's sometimes it's a little dangerous because the roads they'll get slippery and stuff, and mostly everybody here isn't used to driving on stuff like that, so
Plus you have
that's why.
You have that weird energy grid that's not connected to anything else in the United States. That's like all independent, and if it goes down, you're just screwed.
Oh yeah, that's what happened to us last year in February. We were out for a week, and no electricity, nothing.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Yeah, I have family up in the Fort Worth area, and they were like they had a pool, and their pool was frozen over, and they had to like dig out ice from the pool and use the water from the pool to flush their toilets because it was so crazy. So yeah, I hope it doesn't happen to you guys again.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, I mean, it's been really cold down here too, in the 20s at night and stuff like that. And
Wow.
both the batteries on both of our vans died.
Oh geez.
Oh wow.
So I had to replace the battery on my van, and then my dad's van we were able to jump, but because we jumped it, the electronics are kind of goofed, and we don't know. It says check the engine sensor is on.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we have to take it back to the dealership to see if it can be reset or.
Oh no. Thanks.
Because it was like,
Yeah. I gotta go start my car. That reminds me because I haven't started it for like a week, and it's like around -11 today here.
Oh God!
Yeah, so
you put antifreeze in there.
No, I didn't think about it. I probably should have. So I might not be driving for a while.
Do you have any heated blankets, electric heated blankets or anything like that you could put on?
Yeah, I've had plenty of heat here in my apartment. I just don't open any of the doors or windows if I can help it. Just stay.
No,
in here.
what I mean to put on the hood of the car.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't tried
warm
that.
it up first,
No, mine's just in a carport. I live in an apartment building, so I just have a carport down there, so there's no like outlets or anything. So yeah, that would have been smart.
Yeah. Yeah, I think of all these things now because I mean we used to live in Alaska when I was a little kid from the military, but it's like when you're in the South, why do I need to use that for? But
right, yeah, crazy.
Yeah, John's like, yeah, definitely go start your car, make sure it's running.
Right, yeah,
because that's what happened. I hadn't started my van for like a week and a half, and it wouldn't start. It was just, I mean, it was so dead when we got the battery out and took it to. Batteries Plus, they pulled it open, and there was like half of the liquid in one of the 6 cells.
Oh no, that's bad.
That's it. There was no way you were going to charge this thing. It was not taking a charge. So, so it was not fun. So definitely be sure to do that before you go anywhere. Yeah. Let's see. In 2652, I'm trying to think here. Is every book that you're going to do like a 52-page piece for the hardcover, and then maybe a 26 for the soft cover?
Right. Yeah, that's what we're planning to do for every issue from here on out, because we want to do it in that same format. In order to do that, you sort of have to have about 50 pages, or 52, I think is the number. And so that's the plan. In the next issue, we're gonna have a lot of guest art in the gallery section and for some cover maybe. So that's sort of our plan, is to keep it the same format, just switch up. It's not going to be all me in the art in the next one. So that's sort of the plan at this point. So
okay,
I think we've got so far, and I don't think we're going to go crazy or anything, but so far I've got 2 artists lined up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So far.
yeah. That should be cool.
And what kind of turnaround do you think you'll be doing for this? Because obviously this has been sitting around collecting dust for a while.
Right. Yeah. For the next issue, it's going to be, since I have to work on Kane until probably like March or April for like 6 issues. We're planning on starting issue 2 of Crown of Fire around March, and then I'll just have maybe a window of maybe 3 or 4 months where I can just buckle down and get the next issue fully painted, because it takes a long time to paint a comic like that. So yeah, it's going to be some.
It's probably around a 15 to 20 hour a page deal.
Oh yeah, more than that for the painting version.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think I spent almost like a half a year on that first issue, and that was off and on doing some other stuff at the same time. But it's like but I'm hoping in the next issue I'll be focused only on that, so I can just crank it out as fast as I can, but also try to raise the level of artistry to a little higher level. Since it's been 6 years, I should be a little better than I was back when I made this one. That's hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's all we need to say for this one right now. Again, let me go ahead and put the link for it in here. And I just got to copy this real quick and post it in there. There is that's the YouTube, not the.
Oh.
Sorry about that. Let me go ahead and. I can't erase that one. Where is the link to Crown of Fire?
Yeah, we can always say.
There we go.
Yeah, we got it.
No, it's. I know why it did it. It's a silly computer mistake. That's all.
No worries. Yeah.
There we go. There's the Kickstarter link, and there is a link in the description of the video as well. So the link is down there. We can go there as well. But, yeah, again, Crown of Fire. So probably you're going to have about a book a year on average, is what we're looking at.
Yeah, we'll probably do a Kickstarter for the second issue, maybe in the summer. I'm hoping. I just don't want to get most of the issue completed before we start a Kickstarter, because I never want to be in a position where we're late delivering on our promises. So I want to make sure we have as much done as possible before we start trying to fund the second issue. So,
we appreciate that.
I've seen so many people mess up that.
It's one thing when you're Aaron Lepresti and he says, okay, I'm going to do this many pages and I've got this much done. And you're actually seeing him do the work on his YouTube page, his YouTube channel or something.
Right.
It's quite another when I've been waiting for 4 years for a book.
Right. That happened.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I've been waiting for quite long on some books. And it's like,
yeah, I don't know why people do that. It's like that's a good way to just destroy your career,
Yeah. And people always ask me why I haven't done the Kickstarters, and that's part of the reason why.
Right.
Because it's been so long since I've done a full book that I don't want to do it until I've got a full book done. Yeah. If I'm going to do it, number one.
That's smart.
And then number two, I don't do coloring as a rule.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's like I got to raise the funds for a colorist, So
yeah,
and well, who I want to work with. So
is Blonde still working in comics? I haven't seen his name around for a while.
He does. He's working on crowdfunded stuff mostly.
Oh, good. Yeah, I haven't really followed mainstream comics for years, and so I'm not sure who's working now or what. So he's still out there kicking ass.
Yeah, he's doing I've forgotten which ones now, but he's been doing a lot of crowdfunded type stuff and indie stuff. I think he's still trying to get his own book done as well. So he's been working for years.
Do you still talk to him?
Everyone, yeah, he's actually probably watching this, just not saying boo. That's what he does. Or he's listening if he's not watching,
I always love Kevin. He's a great guy. Blonde is so talented, and if he's watching, get back in touch, brother.
Yeah. So it's it would be interesting if we could have all of the guys, you, Blonde, Pierre,
Wouldn't that be fun?
all the guys on the show doing a live draw.
That'd be fun, yeah.
So just whatever. And I don't care if you do on your draw digital on your tablet. I don't care. Whatever,
Where is our right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. As long as you're not typing in draw like so and so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people like come to me at conventions and you didn't do that. What do you mean I didn't do that? Well, that's so and so's art. No, that's their style.
Right.
I drew it, and it's just their style.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can't draw all those styles. And then you see these other artists. Oh, actually, I've been watching him do it for the last 2 hours. He's drawn like 15 different art styles.
Yeah, that's the guys who can do that.
Yeah, well, that's what you're supposed to be able to do.
Right.
It's just that we don't. Yeah. This industry doesn't allow us to explore that side of the artistry. They want us to become one-trick ponies so that they can control us.
Right.
And do.
Yeah.
But when you look at the careers of certain people, you realize that they aren't just the one style, like John Byrne, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, John for his main style, but remember he emulated Rob Liefeld for She-Hulk.
Right.
He did an issue of ElfQuest for Wendy Pini.
Yeah.
He did an issue of Batman Adventures in the DCAU style.
Oh, really? Remember that Star Trek thing he did? It was all using photographs and word balloons.
Well, that's Fumetti.
That was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a totally different situation.
Yeah, it is. It's the way to do it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, no, that's actually been popular since the '60s. I mean, Fumetti had been around for a while. It's just it was an interesting exploration there though for him as well. So
yeah.
But yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I remember when you broke in what, 93 or 94?
94.
94.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if you started. I know. You started with Valentino, didn't you?
Yeah, Jim Valentino doing Shadowhawk stuff, and then the spin-off of Shadowhawk called The Others.
Right.
And, yeah, that was my foot in the door.
Yeah. See, I remember The Others first.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. They guest starred in issue 15 of Shadowhawk, which I drew. I drew that issue.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just spun it off into the Others comic book, and it lasted like 4 or 5 issues, and we called it quits. So,
yeah.
Okay.
And then you did the Warrior Nun black and white.
Yeah, I did that, and I did some stuff for Avatar Press for a little while there.
Threshold.
Yeah.
Yep. See, I know everybody's careers.
Yeah, I was doing all
at least the guys that were part of my studio.
Right. Yeah, I was doing all the A-Comm at Antarctic Press, and Avatar Press, and then Arcane Comics. So that was my 3 A's I did in the 90s, the late 90s.
Yeah. All righty.
Yeah.
All right. So I will go ahead and say, let's see how much this has gone up. It actually did go up a little bit. Someone did buy something while we're watching.
Yeah.
It went from 314 to 364.
Oh, yeah, cool. That's awesome.
So somebody bought something. So that's cool. Hopefully it's from the show. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we started today at like 8,000, right around there. And so to get it up that high today was really a nice day for us.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So, okay, after the show, I'll go ahead and order something. I'm probably going to order the main book and then maybe a $50 piece.
Cool.
For the original art, and
that'd be great. Yeah, that you can add that as an add-on if you buy the book. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, I do that, and I'll probably. I'm still making my mind up about the T-shirt.
Okay. Well, maybe when we see your package come up on the, when we're fulfilling it, maybe we'll throw something extra in there for you since you're a cool guy.
Yeah. Whoops. Now we're going to do it that way. See, we got all kinds of weird. So, I asked John if he had anything to ask. He didn't have anything to ask. I don't know if anybody else out there watching have any questions for Patrick or David. We've got 3 viewers right now. Don't be shy. Feel free to ask, especially if you're doing this blonde the colorist.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, it's quite the interesting thing. Yeah, I definitely want to talk with you after show about some stuff, Patrick. So,
All right, sure, yeah, no worries, man. It's been fun catching up with you after all these years.
yeah, well, the last time we talked online was like something like 4 years ago.
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, well, it's like you never answered your messenger.
Oh really? Oh yeah, I never really look at that. So yeah, I need to get.
Yeah, I know. That's why I had to mail you the link.
Yeah, and then it went in my spam folder, and I couldn't. Like, then I saw it, but like just by happenstance, I happened to look through my junk folder for something else. I was like, oh, there's something from Bright Raven. So I looked at it and I was like, oh crap, I've been kind of waiting for that. So
yeah,
sorry about that.
Yep. And then poor David.
So they got wrangled in at the last second.
Well, no, you didn't get wrangled in. I think you missed it in one of the letters from the spam. I asked you to ask him if he was interested.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I might have missed that one. But...
And then when I mentioned we were doing it today, he PM'd me on Messenger and said, well, is this just a Patrick show? I'm like, oh, of course not. Yeah, if you want to come
no. Well, I mean, I was like, okay, it's cool. I have no problem with it. It's just I just wanted to, because when I read the post, I felt like you were, telling everybody like, hey, I'm going to be on the show too.
Oh,
so,
okay, no.
That's why.
It's mentioning the writer of the book. So yeah.
Well, no, I always mention all the creators on the books if I can, even if they're not going to be on the show, because everybody has some fan base, usually on a book, and you want to let people know that are watching them so that they'll watch the programs.
Right.
Whether it's my program or someone else's podcast, just so that word gets out.
Yeah.
Because I've only got like 72 regular viewers.
That's true.
It's not like I'm Ethan with 10,000 subscribers throwing money at him every day. But it's that kind of a thing where you have to make it a community for everybody.
Right.
And so, I felt like, oh, you didn't know? Yeah, of course you're welcome to come on the show. Yeah, why would you not be?
More than there.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Alrighty. Then, again, that is what is the name of the company you guys call yourselves?
Draco Star Studios is the name that we're publishing under. That's just me and him, basically. Whatever we do in comics, we can put that logo on there, and that'll be our sort of studio name. So.
Okay. Cool. And you said you guys were going to do other projects possibly down the road besides.
Yeah, we're going to hopefully continue the Crown of Fire saga and just keep going as long as we can, doing more Kickstarters like this, and hopefully kind of roll it, so that I notice when people do more and more campaigns, each one is usually a little more successful than the last. And that's sort of our goal, is to just grow it from here and just, get to where the big guys are eventually. But, that's the master plan.
Yeah. And the good thing is neither one of you are the type to do podcasts where you're throwing down other people.
Right.
Or tearing down other people. I'm not saying that other people shouldn't do that. Do what you want on your own.
It's raining.
Right. For some people it works. For some people, I think it doesn't. But
Yeah. I don't like being negative. I think we're all in such a small community of comics. It's like I just like to lift everybody up so that we can all achieve what we want. It was just to make our dreams come true with our comics. And so, yeah, I never like to tear down, but I totally get what you're saying. Yeah, other people do whatever they want, So,
yeah. Alrighty, folks. Well, I think we're going to call it an evening. Again, the name of the book is Crown of Fire. You can find it on Kickstarter. Again, that is the link to it. And the link is also in the description below. And the book is $50 for 52 pages, 26 pages of story, and 26 pages of art gallery by Patrick. You can get a t-shirt for $30. There's 2 different versions. Let me go ahead and see if I can get this thing back over here. Yeah, we can. All right. There's 2 versions of the book. You can get the regular edition and the Inferno Caliente style comic. Spicy. Again, here's some more of the artwork. In the vein of the Voyages of Sinbad or the Harryhausen films of the late 60s, early 70s, if you're into that style of thing. And fantasy comics aren't necessarily the most common stuff, so...
Yeah, we're just following what we are passionate about, and like if people like it, then that's even better.
Yep.
Yeah. Hopefully they can see the passion we put into this and all the hard work, and just know that this was a labor of love. And I'm just glad that we're getting this nice reaction from the fans out there, and I'm so excited it's been funded, and yeah, I'm very grateful for everybody out there that has backed us so far, and onwards to the next one.
Again, you can. There's 20 backers who of that particular award can get original pencil drawing, 8.5 by 11 head and torso sketch.
Yeah.
There's a digital bundle, which is your PDF format, which includes 3 wallpapers of your choice or whatever. Is it your choice or is it just 3 random?
I just have 3 that we have to give them. So yeah, just
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The standard edition, the Inferno edition, you can get both. Are these books going to be signed?
Not necessarily. If I go down there to help David fulfill these, then I will if people want them signed. But if it just kind of depends on if I'm there to do it, because we're going to have all these shipped to David's place in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's going to be an overwhelming thing for him to fulfill it, then I'm just going to buy a plane ticket down there to help him to package all that stuff and ship them off to the backers. And if people want it signed by me, I can do that then. But David can sign any of them himself too, because he will definitely be there for that.
Okay. Yeah. Alrighty. Again, here's the T-shirts. You can get the regular cover or the Queen Prophecies.
Horses.
Horses, yes.
Horses.
Yep. And then you can get a shirt, book print and shirt, a bunch of mega combos, ultra mega combos. So there's a lot of different varieties.
Yes.
To pick up.
Super ultra mega combo.
Alrighty, folks.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us on. It's been a pleasure, and we really appreciate you helping us get the word out for this.
Oh, of course, not a problem.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Like I said, I've done this for so many different people. This was the kind of stuff I wanted to do for CBR 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
This was the stuff that I used to fight Jonah over. Yeah, I mean, when you were doing Prophecy of Soul Sorcerer, I gave him the original interview I did with you and Eric Dean Satan. He's like, who's going to want to read this? And I'm like, dude, the artist is one of your members of your community. Of course they want to know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Dude, you know.
Yeah, I used to run into him when I lived in LA. I'd see him at the Meltdown Comics every once in a while, Jonah.
Yeah, and it's not just you. I mean, it's you and Pierre. So it was 2 members.
Oh yeah.
Because Pierre Andre Derry was inking you at the time on that. So it was like, you know, what are you? Are you an idiot or what?
Well.
But I mean, well, he made his money. He made his yacht.
He did.
That's all. So I guess it all that matters, right?
Good for him.
Here's John.
Oh.
I don't know CBR at all. Yeah. I don't think any of us who were of the original contingent of the chat really do miss it that much.
Yeah, I mean, things evolved. Yeah.
Well, once the chat was gone, I think it just kind of went toxic in its own way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you were never really into the chat board.
I was more in the message board with you guys, but me and you were doing that with Juan sometimes at night.
Mm-hmm.
And but I remember those were the fun days with Fly on the Wall and Silver Star and Fenris and all those cool people. I'm still friends with Chris Allen who is Silver Star, Flame Star. And
son of Chris.
Yeah. Good old days.
Yep. Alrighty then, folks. If you hold on a second, I gotta do it. Oh, that's what it's why. It's not. I gotta present a different thing. This is a screen saver thing. That's all.
Oh, gotcha.
If you liked this video or you think others might, please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to continue to get content from my channel. As always, I thank you for watching and for your support. If you want to reach out to me, Facebook, Lewis.BrightRaven. Twitter, I'm really not on Twitter. I only post like links to the show on Twitter, but if you want to reach out to me there, at LewisBrightRave2. See more of my artwork at deviantart.com/BrightRaven. You've been watching Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven, exclusively on YouTube. Questions, comments, suggestions for other books or creators that you might want to see on the show, Quoth the Raven at QuothRavenLBR72@gmail.com is the place to email me at. If you don't reach me there, try LewisBrightRaven@yahoo.com. That's all for now. I want to thank my guests, David Sandoval and Patrick Blaine, and we will catch you next time. Have a good one.